Okay, today we're going to dive a little deeper into unwrapping. Okay, so we're going to take this object that I've supplied to you and manually unwrap all the parts, pack the UVs together into a square shape, and export the template and make a nice texture like we did with the arch. Okay, but this one, most of the focus will be on the unwrapping part. Um, so I've supplied this. You should find this file in with the video. It's called unwrapmodel.max. If when you open it, if you get a convert scene thing, just click on the X to close it. We don't really have to do anything there. Um, maybe if you're in Max, or you might get that anyway, because this I originally made this as an old scene. I just resaved it, so maybe that won't happen. Anyway. So first off, let's put a unwrap UVW modifier on here. Okay. And let's see. We want to make sure ignore back facing is off. Okay. That's on, that's off. We want it to be off, right? And and not select by element. We don't want that at the moment. So let's select all our parts, okay, rotating around. I'm holding down Alt, pushing down the mouse wheel, dragging the mouse. Okay. They're all selected, so let's go to Open UV Editor. Okay. Oh, I'm also going to include the step-by-step instructions that I usually hand out to students when we do the class in person. You know, I go, as I'm doing here, we all kind of do it together, but I just give this to people as a reference in case they forget how to do something. You guys can also watch the video, but it might be useful to have that. And I'll be following it myself now to make sure I stay on task and do it the way I said to do it when I set this up. So anyway, here we are. We have the thing, okay, like that. It's all the parts selected, and it's just showing it to us as a, you know, planar from one side. So let's click on it. You should be able to just drag everything out of there, okay? So what we're going to do is unwrap each part separately, and then kind of form it into a square, and then scale it, all the parts down, and fit them back into here. They have to be in here with as little negative space as possible. So that's the packing the UVs part. And this is the part that the template gets exported. It's always square. All right, let's start with the top part here. Now you can select objects in either the 3D viewport or here, whichever is most convenient. So now what I want to do is get this top part and unwrap it, okay? So the unwrapping is each part, we're trying to flatten it as much as possible without distorting it as much as possible, okay? So let's see. So I selected this very top polygon, right? And this thing right here is grow the selection. So if I just keep hitting that, so I have the whole top selected now, right? All right, so let's do that first. So we'll go down in the modifier. When I say the modifier, I mean this thing here, okay? When I say the UV window, I mean over here, just to be clear. So here's our basic types of projection, right? Planar, cylindrical, spherical, and box, right? Most of the time, planar is what we're starting with. There's a few cylindrical ones in here. So I'm going to hit planar, okay? And that works good. Now, you'll notice that, see, I'm trying to drag the thing down and it won't move. This is going to happen to you repeatedly. You just got to remember how it works. And I find it a little bit odd, but you have to uncheck planar, okay? And then you can move it down. So again, will be screwed up. You want to make sure that you don't have select by element on here, and also select by element can be turned on here too, okay? So, so here we have this thing, right? And when you unwrap things, it tends to make them kind of a square. So we have to fix that. Now, up here in the upper right of the UV window, you'll see this where it says checker pattern, but it's not showing. So if you just click on it and go checker pattern again, okay, now we can have a checker pattern. Now this is just sort of a visual aid. When this thing's properly unwrapped, all the checkers should be square and they should all be about the same size, okay? You could unwrap things to be different sizes, like if you had some tiny thing that you wanted to do detail on, you could make it bigger. But for consistency of textural patterns, it's better all of them are about the same size. That's generally how it's done, okay? So anyway, so you can see here that this thing, we want to make it look like about the proportions of the actual thing, okay? So we go up here. This is your scale, right, in the UV window. If you hold down on it, there's a horizontal scale and a vertical scale. So let's just drag in the vertical scale, and you'll see that these start to become square. Okay, as this thing approaches what it's approximately what its proportions are. They'll still be stretched on the angle, right, because this thing is curving towards parallel to the planar direction as opposed to perpendicular. So we're going to have to fix that. All right, this looks pretty good. So then let's go to edge mode and click on one edge, right? And we have a loop. There's loop and ring, right? And this is the same. I think I discussed this when we were doing the basic poly modeling. Ring is a whole bunch of parallel edges, and loop is edges that are connected end to end. So we want to get the outside of this thing. So let's go this here, that's ring, and here's loop. Okay, if you roll over these. Okay, so I got the whole outside. I can't even make this the whole screen. All right, I'm going to just make this bigger to try to, so I'm going to scale it uniformly first. And then maybe scale a little bit vertically. Okay, I think that's gonna work somewhat. This doesn't. We're just making this to be good enough. Okay. If you actually had a decal right here, we might have to do a little bit better of a job. But the way we're doing it is we're kind of like doing it good enough. Put it that way. But these do get, by the amount of stretching I just did, these get kind of wonky here. So we can fix that. All right. So if you go to, let's do, yeah. So let's go to vertex mode. We're going to open up the vertices. We're going to break these kind of, it's like we're flattening out a pelt kind of. So we get this vertex here, okay? And I'm holding down Control to select multiple ones. Okay, so I selected the two on either end of the long horizontal top and bottom, okay? And I'm going to go to Tools, Break, okay? Now you may not see anything happen, but this separated this here. So now if I go back into Edge mode and select the top, and then Control, click on the bottom, all right? And then I'm going to go to my horizontal scale and just scale a little bit horizontally like that. Okay. It's a fairly minimal amount of adjustment I made there. So now let's do the same thing on the vertical ones. See how it's still a little bit of stretching there, but it fixed the messed up quality. So let's do the same thing on the other one. So let's go click here, getting back into my regular selection tool, Control, click here. And, oh, no, I'm going to break first, right? So I'm going to select this one, Control, click, Control, click, Control, click, and Tools, break. All right, and then I'm going to click on this. You know, the Control is add to selection, right? So only hold that on the second thing I'm selecting. Control, click there. Hello. And then I'm going to vertically scale a little bit. Yeah. Okay, so this top part's unwrapped. All right, let's get this guy here. I think we can select by element for this. So if I click on that, yeah, select by element. All right. And I guess there's different ways you could do this. So here it is, right? And I'm going to do cylindrical and then planar for the top part. And, you know, this is kind of like at a 45-degree angle, so it could be one or the other. Let's see here. So I'm going to go down here to cylindrical, okay? And you can see that it's like, what the? That cylinder isn't fitting this very well. So let's hit fit and see what happens. Okay, so that's perfect. And let's unhit the top. We don't want, right? Because that's not going to be well. It's getting hit from the side. Okay, the cylindrical doesn't put any UVs from the top. It's just from the side projected in. So we'll separate that and do it later. All right. So again, uncheck this guy, move this out of here. All right. And we want to, again, scale this so it's more or less closer to the real proportions. So I'm going to go to vertical scale. All right. Now I've noticed this in the last version of 3ds Max is sometimes this thing, the scale tool, you have to click on it like a bunch of times to get it to take or something. There seems to be a glitch of some kind. I mean, you could try just deselecting and reselecting. You may have that problem. Okay. So anyway, I'm scaling like this till the things on the side get more square. This is not the best unwrap right here, but it's going to be good enough because if you put like some insignia or something on the top here, you're probably going to just have it on the flat part. So if we scale this down like this, I think it's okay. And then let's go and select turn off by element and select just the top. And let's do planar for that. And turn off planar, move it down. Hello. Okay. Now here, you can see that the squares are a lot smaller, right? And that means that this thing is too big. Right? So I go to my uniform scale, scale it down till it's about the right size, something like that. Okay, now this whole thing is too big, right? So I'm going to scale the whole thing down. Whoops, what am I doing? I was like, why isn't it working? Till the squares are about the same size as the ones in the top of the object. All right, so that's cool, right? I'm just going to put it here. Now let's do the other one. So you can copy and paste UVs, right? So I'm going to go edit, copy, right? And I'm going to select this element and edit, paste. Okay. Now it's pasted it right on top of here. Okay. And that's cool. You can do that and just leave it, and that gives you, helps you to pack your UVs tighter. But that means the two things are going to be exactly the same. And there's a good chance that you might want to put something different on the top of one and the other. If things are too similar looking, it's sort of like makes it look a little fake. So it's not that big. I'm going to move it apart. Okay, so here it is. Now, if I wanted to pack these really tight, I could do, make sure angle snap is turned on. You could just, do it like this, maybe. you know, put them like that or something like that. I think I'm just going to leave it at the moment and see how things pan out as we work along.